It's no secret, most of you know the Denver Broncos, right? And it's no secret that Denver, in general, has a bit of an obsession with the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos. It's a good thing for the most part. Maybe he'll talk a little bit about that. But from John Elway to Peyton Manning to our guest speaker here tonight, quarterback is a special position. It's a unique position. During his time in Denver, Jake the Snake broke John Elway's single-season passing record, throwing for over 4,000 yards, and he tied Elway's record for touchdown passes in a single season. Okay, since his retirement from football, he's taken up the sport of handball. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage our keynote speaker, Jake Plummer.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? That was a good meal, huh? Don't usually eat steak, but it is good when I do. I'm gonna have my water here. Colorado is very dry. When I played, so as to avoid and have it here, not to run to the table every so often. But some of you may remember when I played, you'd see me run to the sideline every so often and scream some vulgar obscenities to our equipment guy. Where's my you-know-what water? Because my mouth would be stuck together. It's so dry here on the field. So I'm going to have this handy so I don't have to find some sweat somewhere to... I'm sorry, I shouldn't go there. We are all athletes in here, right? Most of us, at least. This is what it's about sports, about athletics. I'm honored to be here, and I've learned a lot about Metro State tonight that I didn't know in the past. What a great school, what a great institution, and a great athletic program that's continuing to get better and better. And sitting and talking with Joan, the AD, which has been a pleasure to find out, the Division II catches the players that don't want to go to D1, that don't get accepted by the D1 school of their choice. So, D2 is where I think it's growing. It's going to grow and continue to grow, and especially with D1 wanting to get paid and all that. D2 is going to be a place where you can still go see some amateurs play a sport that they love, and they're playing for the right reasons, not just so they can put some money in their wallet. So I never played for money. I played because I loved the game, and I honestly 100% can say that there was never a moment in my life that it was about the money. It was about playing for my teammates, playing for my coaches, and trying to win. That's all I wanted to do, was win. So money, they paid me a lot in the NFL. I still feel like I backed out of there with a mask on and a gun up saying, give me all you got. They paid me way too much, but I gladly accepted it. And would have played for a lot less. I honestly mean that. I think the games were so much fun to me. It was my passion and my love. Like a lot of the athletes in the room tonight, there's some here, and anybody who's played sports at a high level, coaches, your players, they play for the love. If you get a team that loves what they're doing, you're going to do well. It sounds like the athletes at Metro State love what they're doing, and they're being coached well, and I'll keep checking on them and see how they do here in the future. Sports, how did I get started in sports? My two brothers, they're older than me, and they're very athletic, very skilled, very good hand-eye coordination, very good runners and competitors. So it was by no choice of my own that sports were a big part of my life. I was the kid running around catching the ball and going deep. Go deeper, keep going. Go, go, go. And then my brother would go inside. Would turn around and walk back in. That's how it went. If I didn't want to play catch, I'd end up with a bruise on my shoulder. I'd be getting punched in the shoulder and, get out here, come on. So I was very grateful to have two older brothers that pushed me to always play, to always be outside, to just continue to compete. I'm still trying to beat them in some ways, in some sports. They can't beat me in football, but you need teammates in football. My brother still can throw the ball further than me, one of my brothers. But they were great. I was grateful to have them in my life to push me to excel. I still, like I said, try to still beat them in whether it's horseshoes or ping pong. I'm still trying. One of these days I'll get them. Handball's another one we played a lot as a family. We played any game you could imagine. We'd draw a rectangle in our driveway and divide it in half and get one of those old plastic balls from Albertsons, is where we grew up in Boise. It was a little bit flat and with some paddles, and we called it paddle ball. We'd play for hours in the driveway. And that's what we did. That's how we grew up. And today's day and age, kids play a lot of games, and they're always constantly playing, but rarely are they on their 2 feet or outside. And I think everyone in this room, if you want to continue to have Metro State succeed in all these colleges, is get the kids off those devices and get them outside drawing rectangles in the dirt. I always had a dream of playing in the NFL, but I knew along the way there were many things that had to happen, a lot of important things. One of them, first and foremost, was education, to take care of schoolwork, to go to class, to listen while I was in class, to study, to do the best I could. School was never easy for me. I had to work hard. My mom always seemed to kind of help me when my project was due, whether that's procrastination or just not knowing quite how to finish it or put it together. She was a great teacher herself that helped me continue to excel when I was younger and learn how to prepare and how to plan ahead and how to get a project done and take it to class and be proud of it. So I really want to thank my mom. She's not here, but I always like to thank my mom for what she taught me in education, and my grandmother, who was a teacher herself. But my dream started when I was a young kid. I wanted to play in the NFL. I played all the sports, like I said. I wasn't quite big enough, tall enough to play basketball. My arm wasn't strong enough to play baseball. But I had a knack to play football. I guess maybe it was getting chased around by my brothers and the ball thrown at me quite a bit. I learned how to dodge things, and I learned how to throw the ball back accurately, because if you miss hitting your older brother, you're in for it. So I got accurate pretty quick. But I had a dream, and it started in high school. I became a starter in my junior year and ended up getting some letters to some big schools around the country. I was able to narrow my choices down to Arizona State. Went to Arizona State. That was one step closer to my dream, the NFL. But while I was at Arizona State, I never thought about playing or working out or doing my classwork for the NFL. I did it for my Sun Devils and for my teammates and for my team and my coaches and the university. And I try to tell young men that when I talk to them in colleges, you're not playing for the NFL because rarely do you make it. Rarely do anyone, many of you around you, your peers, very few of them will make it. But play for your team, play with your heart, and play with your soul, and you might have a better chance of making it if you just forget about what's out there. And I did the best I could. Of course, the NFL was always a dream. And I started my freshman year. I played 4 years at Arizona State. We almost won a national title. We were seconds away, which is why I went to Arizona State. And my junior year, after my junior year, a reporter asked me, do you think you're going to come out this year? I said, what? What are you talking about? You're going to go into the draft. At that moment, I said, wow, okay, I guess I've got a shot to make it in the NFL. But I wasn't ready to go. I wanted to go and try to win a national title, and we had a great year my senior year, and culminated in losing in the Rose Bowl, but it was a great season. Now I got drafted. I'm not really there quite yet, because I wanted to win a Super Bowl too. That was my ultimate dream. But I'd achieved my dream of making it into the NFL. From a young kid that, had you seen me when I was 5, you would have just laughed like most everybody else did. I had blonde hair, it was kind of long, and I was very skinny. I think I weighed about 174 when I got to Arizona State. I didn't look like those kids today coming out on the field. When I left Arizona State, I was really excited that I was getting close to 200. I could actually touch the scale at 200 if I ate a bunch prior and drank a bunch of water. But I did. You wouldn't think me, coming from Boise, Idaho, would make it, but I did, and we almost won a Super Bowl, or almost got there, I should say, here in Denver. It was very close, but I played 10 years, and what a career, what a accomplishment. I've thanked my family numerous times, my brothers, my wife, now my mom and dad, everybody, because I couldn't have done it without all of them. And like coaches here today and the athletes and anybody who has played sports, it takes a lot more than just yourself to have success. To even get an opportunity like going to Metro State, you need to thank whoever it is that has helped you get here and make sure they know you're appreciative of it. because that's a gift that you've been given to come to a school. What a great school to come to compete, to play with whatever sport it is, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, to learn the ups and downs of why you play sports, the mental toughness, the physical toughness, learning how to persevere, learning how to set a goal and try to accomplish that goal no matter what the setback is. Those will all help you in life as you get older, as you move on. And you'll look back 20 years from now like I do when I go back to Arizona State and I laugh at what a greenhorn I was coming out of Arizona State. I thought I knew everything. I hear a lot of people say, I wish I knew now, or I wish I knew then what I know now. Well, I'm glad I didn't know what I know now back then, because I could be engulfed in the college experience and be a kid and have fun, form relationships that still to this day mean a lot to me. A lot of my closest friends are, my college players, guys I played with, some I didn't, but they're all still the guys that I know are there no matter what. So I've been very blessed, very lucky. I have to share one quick story from a game in Denver. I mentioned handball earlier, and handball is one of my passions now since I retired. Third, fourth on the list from my family, my kids, those sort of things. I like to play it. It beats me up. It's a tough sport. There's a couple handball players here tonight. Sherwin and Mike who will tell you if you want to find out about it. If anybody's interested in playing, I always like young kids to play, and especially young college athletes. It's a great sport for all of your sports, or whatever your sport is. It will make you a better football player, better basketball player, better baseball player, better tennis player. You would be surprised if you just try it, how you will excel at the sport of your choice. It's pretty amazing. People laugh, but it was probably the first game ever played, one of the first games, and they didn't form a racket for a long time. So give it a shot. Handball is a great sport, and I got a lot of flack for this one, but against Kansas City, I was in the end zone and took the snap and dropped back. And my tight end was running the hook, and I had a hook outside by Rod Smith. It was Jeb Poutsier, who's from Eagle, Idaho. And as I got ready to throw, a guy grabbed my right arm. And me, having one of my greatest attributes is that I'm an eternal optimist, and I think every play should work. When I played, I thought, this is the play. I mean, that was just how I succeeded. It was a great attribute to have, and sometimes it was a big pitfall of mine. It was awful to have. I wish I could have turned it off. In this case, I wish I could have turned that switch off, but now in retrospect, I'm really glad I didn't. I switched hands, and I threw a bullet with my left hand. Thank you, handball. Coach Shanahan didn't think that was handball, whatever. My tight end hooked out. I threw the ball in where he was supposed to go, and it hit the defender right in the chest. And as I'm going down, I'm laughing. You guys in the stands were probably booing me and screaming, and I was laughing. I was shaking my head laughing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have some explaining to do on this one. But it came back out. We went on a touchdown drive. We ended up winning the game. I think we ended up winning the game, so it was kind of a non-issue, but it got some good laughs. But without handball, I would never have tried to complete that ball. And like I said, it was a great attribute to have a never die optimistic attitude like that. And it's still, now today, is much more beneficial than on the football field, where you actually have to sometimes hold the ball or sometimes wait for the next play. I wasn't patient enough, so maybe I could go back, I could be as good as the guy over here, number 18. But yeah, it was a great time playing in the NFL. I met a lot of great people. One of them, Pat Tillman, who you may have read about or heard about, a great guy. Everybody thinks of Pat as a war hero and as a great American, but Pat was a real true friend of mine, and yeah, I wish the people that feel that way about him could have met him as just Pat before he did decide to go overseas and go fight for our country. Pat was a guy who had a thirst for knowledge, and he's inspired me to have the same thing, a thirst for knowledge and a thirst and an insatiable appetite for life and conversation and people. And I always try to share a little story about him because I think he's a very special guy, and I know that you may know someone like Pat that has similar characteristics. Be thankful you have someone like that in your life. It's too bad he's not here with us, but the stories that I can share are always fun. We were having a discussion around a table in the backyard or a pool and a barbecue pit. We were having a few beers. This was with the Arizona Cardinals. We were having a discussion about movies, and you had to come up with a movie and then prove why it's one of the greatest movies of all time. This was Pat's brainchild. So you come up with a movie, Caddyshack. Oh, come on, man, one of the greatest ever. Yeah, it is. You think about all the people, it's a great movie, right? So Pat had his whole spiel down, had a bunch of different movies, and we got in a big argument. I can't recall exactly what movie it was, but he got pretty upset. So he pushed his chair, the table, walked off, took off. Oh, okay, Pat's going out for a while. I don't know where he's going. And we're continuing the discussion, and we hear this loud noise, flop, flop, and we look over, and it's a pair of thongs land right by the table. And so we look up like, what? And there's Pat at the top of this house, and he does a front flip into the pool, and we're sitting there like one saying, no, but he'd already committed with no fear. That was the beauty of Pat. Where there's fear, there's danger. He had no fear. He was fine. So Pat being, good-looking guy, long hair, well-built, he comes out of the pool, slicks his hair back, looks around, and we just said, whatever you say goes, man. You're the man. That's Pat, and that's what he did. He was kind of a guy who lived like that, so I try to share a few stories once in a while about my good friend. But to end this, I just want to say congratulations to all the athletes and the coaches, to Metro State. Dr. Jordan, it's inspiring to see what you guys are doing here. This sounds like a great school. I'm glad to be here so that now I have a little more knowledge of the area of Denver and know there's other schools out there that are doing great things. I'm honored to be here tonight, and I hope that we can get a bunch more student athletes here. And remember, it's student athlete first. Take care of the grades and make sure that's important. And if you do that and continue on in the likeness of Pat or whomever your idol or whomever you look up to, you'll have a good life, you'll be successful, and I wish everyone in here in this room, and all, especially the young athletes, the very best. Thank you.